Good morning, welcome to Mechanical Advantage Garage, and it is day 4 and Saturday on Mecum motorcycle auctions. So this is going to be a fun day. This is the last day. It's usually considered a big money day. There's going to be some very impressive bikes coming up today, stuff we haven't seen before, but a lot more of nicer examples of stuff we have seen before too. It's going to be an interesting day for sure. So yeah. We're at breakfast right now, and I kind of just wanted to go over some quick things. If I make a mistake on something, I don't know everything, and I know that this is always a learning experience, but if you guys know more than me, I probably have the least amount of knowledge of any of the people attending here, both in the fact that I'm young and didn't experience a lot of these bikes when they were new, but also because I'm young and this isn't my life, it's a hobby. Right, I don't make a living at it. There are some things I do know about. Honda CB750 single cams I happen to know a lot about. Not as much as some of the other people here, but more than most. But yeah, like I said, if I make a mistake, please correct me in the comments. YouTube's system is not great for changing stuff inside of videos, but so I can't go back and edit. But if it's in the comments, then somebody who's looking for that information at least has access to it. So that's it. The couple of things I've been hearing around. People have been saying bike prices have been a little bit down this year, and I'm kind of surprised by that because I've seen some strong numbers. That said, things that normally would have sold for a lot more last year don't seem to be selling as well. Plus, there's been some surprises on things too. Cowie triples are stronger than ever. Cowie Z1s seem to be kind of soft. Single cam 750s, the thing I have learned about them is if they do not have stock exhaust, they do not go well on the auction block. Everybody wants to see that 4-in-4 pipe. It's just a thing. So, yeah, it's been interesting to sort of float around. There's been some amazing bargains. The thing I've learned is you have to kind of really know the bikes you're looking for and what you're looking at. So yesterday I saw a Sandcast, a 1969 CB750 Sandcast bike sell for $8,000. Now, Mecum did disclose it as a Sandcast, but it had a lot of incorrect information in the listing as well. And the only way is if you know a CB750s, you know that there's a specific range of VIN numbers that make Sandcasts, and this was in that range. So if you were a CB750 guy, you checked those numbers, you would have known that that's a good deal to bid on. But most other people would have seen 1970 CB750 and the VIN number listed, and maybe seen Sandcast as a listed bullet item, but not really understand it or know that. Now the other thing about that bike, it was very custom, and it was missing some of the more expensive parts: the exhaust, the tank, the front fender, and a few other like hard to find CB750 Sandcast parts, but it did have some of the other harder to find ones. And the thing about Sandcast is most of that stuff is reproduced. You can get wrinkled tanks, you can get cut off fenders, they do cost. You can get reproduction exhaust. Will it be original? No, but it'll do well more than $8,000, and you won't have to spend another $10,000 to make it that nice, right? So know the bike that you're bidding on before you buy, right? Now, I do want to sort of show some of the pre-ritual stuff that Dad and I do before we go into Mecum to sort of help us get ready for what we want to see and the things that we want to do. So, yeah, let's jump into that. So, this is the Mecum catalog, right? The catalog's online too, which makes it really easy when you're like at breakfast. You don't want to bring 2 of these down, but they give you these for free on the first day, and you got to kind of get them quick because they do run out by the second day. But it is all of the listings broken down by day. If you actually look in the binder here, all the different color sections are the different days that things are going up. Right, so we're in the Saturday, and what Dad and I do is we sort of dog ear these pages, and then we go through and we star the bikes that we want to see. And then when they come up for auction, one of the things we like to do, let me just find a page here where we have done it, is
my book has.
This is your book. Here it is. So one of the things we like to do also is we don't just start, but when it comes up to auction, we write the value of the bike for what it either sold or whether the bid goes on or not. in the book, so that if there's another one coming up, they can go back to that previous page and see what the other one went for as a quick reference. Now, Mecum is updating their online listing at the rate of about 20-minute lag. But if you have two bikes going back to back, like yesterday there was a CBX, 79 CBX, and then a 1980 CBX went 5 bikes later, so you're not going to have that value. So if you didn't write it down, you're not going to know it, right? So we just sort of go through this book and we star what we want to see, and that way we know also to, like, if there's a lag of like 30 bikes that we don't want to see, a bunch of small displacement stuff, we'll just go and look at the bikes that are in the lineup or the paddock and go look at the ones that we do want to see and get a good inspection on it. We also want to talk to the owners as much as possible if we can find them. Sometimes you can, sometimes they're standing by their bikes, sometimes they're not. If the bike has already been bid up but it didn't sell, you can usually find out who the owner is through the bid goes on desk. If you're one of the people who likes to make an offer on the bike, right? You want to see if you can make a deal on something that didn't sell. There's also outside deals, but I don't know how that works. It's a whole subculture in Mecum that they're trying to stamp out, so I don't know anything about it. One of the things that does frustrate me about Mecum is they're not very clear about titles on everything. There are some where they are excellent about it, right? They'll tell you sometimes that a bike is sold on bill of sale. They will tell you sometimes that if you are a purchaser in Nevada or certain states that there is a challenge to riding that bike. Some are listed as display only. Now, if you are coming to Mecum and you want to buy, know your state's title laws. And the reason I say that is because for a lot of these bikes that are street legal but are sold on bill of sale, or let's say started as street legal bikes but are converted to race bikes, if you know what your title laws are, you can get a title if that state permits it. So, for example, my dad is from New York, and New York will allow you to register any 1972 or older bike on a VIN rubbing with 4 DMV forms, right? So anything that we see in that date range that is sold on bill of sale, we know is something that titling is not going to be a problem for us. Whereas I live in Ohio, and Ohio requires notarization and a previous documented title, and if you don't have that, you have to go through a bonded title process and a court-ordered title process, and it costs a lot of money. So anything on bill of sale that I know is coming to Ohio, I'm out for that, right? So it pays to know not just your own title laws, but try to find out as much as where the bike comes from so that you know the title that you're getting it. Like I said, New York it doesn't really issue a title, it issues ownership papers in the form of a transferable registration. So people sometimes are surprised when they get this because, like, well, this is just a registration document. Where's the title? Well, it is the title, right? I moved from New York to Ohio. I took all of my transferable registrations and I turned them in for Ohio titles. And I had no problem with it. But sometimes if you're not familiar with it, it may scare you initially. So yeah, so if you're going into Mecum, know your title laws and just try to talk to people who are from places and see what their title laws are. There are states that are super easy to get a title: New York, Tennessee, New Hampshire, Maine, places like that. There are places where it's almost impossible to get a lost title: Ohio, Louisiana, states like that. And then there are some that have processes, but it's not as easy. So yeah, know what you can. So yeah, we're gonna eat breakfast because it just showed up. Thank you very much, and we'll see you from the auction floor. Just to show you some behind-the-scenes stuff. This is how they move motorcycles from the second floor exhibition for the featured bikes down to the auction. They just load them in elevators. Makes it a lot easier.
We got it, huh?
So let me just show you some of the tools that Mecum actually provides to you to help you with navigating the a massive volume of bikes that are here. So these are the green sheets. They give you out these one per day, and they are all the bikes that are going for the day. Here's the program that I mentioned earlier. They give you a notepad, pens, and then any of the collections will have flyers like this that will sometimes show you what's in the collection. Also, Here's a poster, and if you actually open it up, it shows you all the different collections in there.
Okay.
So, really neat stuff.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
And it helps you sort of navigate all of the bikes. And they have very helpful staff. And it's a lot of stuff to process, you know. A lot of stuff to help you bid and a lot of stuff to help you buy bikes. So, yeah. Can't say that they're not helpful, because they are very helpful. So up until this point, I've been showing you just kind of what I'm into. So a lot of Nortons and a lot of CB750s and single cams and just bikes I find interesting. But I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. Unfortunately, this is also a bike I'm interested in because I had a T500. But right now we're looking at a 1969 Suzuki T500 Cobra. Now, these are very interesting bikes because even if you're familiar with two-strokes and know what the somewhat obscure T500 Titan is, this was the bike that preceded it. The Cobra, they made them for a very short period of time, and they are very early versions of it. Pretty much the same engine, but a lot of differences. That has the chrome panel tank. Something interesting here is he has the pump, the auxiliary tire inflator pump, still on the frame. My bike had the mounts for this, but never had the pump because they're always lost. This one does not have the red line tires. I don't know if that was an option on the Suzuki Cobras. I know it was on the Titans. So also color matched gauges. You'll see the drum brake in the front end is pretty much the same as a Titan, but these are early bikes, and they are usually the more sought after of the Suzuki 500cc two-stroke twins. I actually had a Cobra motor for a little while. I think I gave it to my friend Jim in New Jersey, but this is just an absolutely stunning example of early two-stroke. And this one has some beautiful expansion chambers on it. Look at these. That is just gorgeous. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what this sells at.
At $2,500 bid, anybody get $2,500. You get $2,500. At $2,500 bid, anybody get $500. Anybody get $500. Anybody get $3,000. Anybody get $3,000. And now $3,500 bid, anybody get $3,500 bid. Anybody get $3,000. Anybody get $3,500. I have $3,000. Anybody get $3,500. Anybody get $3,500. $4,000 now. At $4,000. Anybody get $4,000 bid. Anybody get $4,000. Anybody get $4,000. At $4,000. Anybody get $3,500 bid. Anybody get $4,000 bid. Anybody get $4,000. So $3,500 to the internet.
So here's a really interesting bike. This is a 2002 Moto Guzzi Stone Metal. So what I mean by stone is it's a Moto Guzzi Stone. So these are 1000cc engines, but they are the Stone is the model. So Guzzi makes a bunch of different models, and this was the Stone model, and then this was the special edition Metal model, which has a Metal special edition, which has a chrome tank, which is very cool. Unfortunately, this one has like almost 70,000 miles. It's a gorgeous, touring bike. Looks like California license plate on it, current California license plate on it. They're beautiful bikes. These era of Moto Guzzis don't seem to bring a lot of money. Now, here's what I will say about the heritage and DNA of these bikes. These are the last of the modern fuel-injected Guzzis that use Tanti frames. So when I say Tanti frames, this goes back to the early 70s, 1972, with the V7 Sport, and then the fabled Le Mans 850 Le Mans 1, the Le Mans 2, CX100 bikes, the 1000 SP. All of the sporting 70s and 80s Guzzi models used a Tanti frame, and you can tell because of this pivot here. They and that's a big block Tanti frame. There is also a small block Tanti frame that started as the V50 and V35 bikes, the 350 and 500 bikes, and those are still in production. The modern V7s use small block Tanti frames, but this is a big block Tanti frame. You can tell a big block Tanti frame, it has this V into the swing arm pivot, whereas the small block will come down here, have a bar across, and then go up. So 1000cc bike, very pretty. I don't think this is the right audience for it. It's cool, but it's high mileage. It has awesome Brembo brakes on it. What is cool about these is because it is the older frame, you can actually take all the cruiser stuff off of it and make it a sporting, vintage-looking 70s bike. And there are some people that sell aftermarket tanks that look like V7 sport tanks but have all the fuel injection stuff in them. So very neat stuff. I love it. I'm kind of curious to see what it'll sell for because I just don't think this is the market for it.
Now offering S7, a 2002 Moto Guzzi Stone Medal, 1064cc V-twin engine, 5-speed transmission, heated grips, no reserve.
Okay, did you help restore this bike? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We learn quick in this business. How much is? Somebody get 35 here. You better get $3,500 bid. You better get 3,000. You better get two. Somebody get $2,000 for it. 2,000. You better get two bid. You better get two. Give $1,000. $1,500 bid. You better get two bid. You better get two. You better get 2,000. At $2,000 bid. You better get two bid. You better get 2,000. You better get 2,000. You better get two. And you better get $2,000. Now $2,500 bid. You better get five bid. You better get two bid. You better get 25. What? Two, there, $2,500 bid, you better get five bids, you better get two, you better get $2,500 here. Yeah, I got you at two. I think I picked the wrong one though. 2,000, you better get 2,500. At $2,500 bid, you better get two bid, you better get $2,500 here, you better get 2,500. Now 3,000. 3,000, you better get, now 3,500. $3,500 bid, you better get three, you better get 35. Sold $3,000. Sold $3,000. You late arriver. $7,500. $7,500. Oh yeah, really? You're just gonna be a quitter now. You got seven, right? Oh, you got 6,750. Are you sure you don't want to be seven? Okay, 67 and a half. Hey, I thought I'd get 8 too. 7,000's the bid. I did give you the opportunity. You remember that, right? So how about 7,500? I think I can get 8,000 out of them. Give 7,500. $7,500 here. You better get 7,500. Sold. $7,000. Sold.
So here is a 1975 CB750. Again, these bikes are close to my heart because my long-running bike of choice and my primary bike is a 1975 CB750 K5 in this same planet blue color. Mine is a little ragged with over 70,000 miles on it that I've put on, and I got it without a speedo, so it could be upwards of 100. Runs okay, mine does. This one probably runs flawlessly because it is a flawless example. I'm curious to see what this will go for because maybe it means I have to restore my 750 because this is very nice. I don't see a lot of deviations from stock. The only thing I see is somebody polished the valve cover up here. It's a common thing to happen because it is the topmost exposed part, so it does corrode. Usually they're just supposed to be clear-coated natural metal, but it looks good with a polished cover. The other deviation from stock is these gauge housings are chromed. Normally they're supposed to be black, and you can see probably why, because look at how damaged the chrome is on this one, right? The gauges on these bikes are terrible. The chrome is, at least. Actually, the mechanically is too, because I've been through 3 speedos on mine. The chrome doesn't last on them, so this stuff kind of gets updated. It's not a big deal. You can still get these parts new to fix it, but otherwise, yeah, this bike seems to be in excellent shape, and it does have original 341 pipes. The way you tell originals from reproductions, and there's someone here selling reproductions, is the stamping. Everything else is the same, but the stamping on the reproductions is a smaller font. It is slightly shallower. It looks like a modern stamping, whereas this looks like an old, somebody hit it with a punch stamping. So yeah, I am curious to see what this bike will go for. So one of the things I like to check here, even though you're not supposed to touch these bikes, is the insides of the tanks. And this one is bad. Yeah. This one is not that great inside. It's not bubbling, it's not rusting, it's not flaking, but it has a ton of flash rust, which means it's been standing for some time.
Yep.
Yeah, the carbs is leaking.
Coloring, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been standing for a while. So
$20,000 bid, anybody get 20 bid, anybody get 20, anybody get 8,000, put it 9 bid, anybody get 10,000, anybody get 11, 12,000, anybody get 12 bid, anybody get 11 bid, anybody get 12 bid, anybody get $12,000. I have 11,000, anybody get 12,000, 11 bid, anybody get 12 bid, anybody get 12. I have 11,000, anybody get 12,000, anybody else? 11,000, anybody get 12 bid, anybody get 12,000, 11 bid, anybody get 12. I have 11,000, anybody get 12,000, anybody get 11 bid, anybody get 12, 13. I have 12 bid, anybody get 13,000, anybody get 13 bid, anybody get 12 bid, anybody get 13. I have 12,000, anybody get 13,000, anybody get 13, anybody get 13, anybody get 13. I have 13, 14,000, anybody get 14. I have 14,000, anybody get 14, anybody get 14, anybody get 14, anybody get 14,000. I have 14,000, anybody get 14, anybody get 14, anybody get 12 bid, 14. I have 12,000, anybody get 14, reserve is off. I have 12,000, anybody get 13,000, anybody get 13, anybody get 13, anybody get 12 bid, anybody get 13.
I was hoping.
So $12,000 to the internet.
So here's another 70s sort of super bike, but maybe not really. This is an early spoke wheel Goldwing. These bikes they were originally meant to be Honda's top tier super bike with the flat 4, but they ended up being touring bikes. They ended up being developed into the large, go across America Goldwing that we know now. But in reality, it was supposed to be something like what the CBX was initially envisioned as, which, by the way, the CBX also in its later years became a large sport touring bike, whereas the Goldwing evolved pretty slowly. It was naked from 75 and spoke wheel variant to 77, and then mid-transition in 77 to 79, still naked but with Comstar wheels, and then by 80, 81 they had fairings from the factory and bags and the whole thing. This one happens to be doubly unique because it is a special edition. You can note the gold anodized aluminum rims on it, which is only on certain models of the Goldwing. It's not on every 75 to 77. What's interesting about it is the wheel itself, the hub, is the same as a CB750. So when these bikes were very cheap, one of the upgrades I used to do to CB750s I owned was to get a Goldwing wheel, and that way I got an alloy rim in front. And then to get the matching alloy rim in rear, I would get a Honda-matic rear. So this is, 76 GL1000 LTD. LTD is the one with the gold accents, the gold pinstriping, the gold emblems, and the gold anodized wheel. These have been coming up in recent years, and I'm kind of curious to see what this one does at auction. They're gorgeous bikes. Oh, interestingly enough, my 4-cylinder Volkswagen-powered BMW led to the Goldwing. So the story was BMW saw people making conversion kits of their /2 bikes to be VW powered to pull sidecars in America. And they started to develop a prototype to replace the /2 that was powered by a flat 4 Boxer. Eventually they abandoned this to develop the /5 bikes. And they ended up selling the prototype to Honda, who then used it to develop the first prototype for their bike, which was 6-cylinder powered, is the M1. And then they used the M1 to create the Goldwing in 75. So that whole chain of events, 60s VW conversions led to the 70s Goldwings. So, very neat bikes. I'm curious to see what this one will sell for.
16 to 76 Honda Goldwing GL 1000 Limited. Odometer reads 1,200 miles. A 1-year limited edition. Special edition 2 of step seat as well. No reserve.
Somebody get $20,000. Anybody get 20? Anybody get 20? Anybody get 20? Anybody get 20? Anybody get 15? Somebody get $10,000. $10,000. Anybody get 10? Anybody get 10? Anybody get 10? Anybody get 2, 3, 4. 4,000, anybody get 3, 4,000, anybody get 3 and now 4, anybody get 4, anybody get 5, and 5,000, anybody get 6,000, anybody get 6, anybody get 5, anybody get 6, and $6,000, anybody get 5,000, anybody get 6,000, anybody get 7,000, anybody get 8, 8,000, anybody get 8, anybody get 8, anybody get 8,000, anybody get 8, 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 and $7,500, anybody get $7,500, you get $7,500 now, 8, 8,000, anybody get 8, anybody get $7,500. $100 bid, anybody get paid 8,000, anybody get paid Now $8,500. $8,500 bid. Anybody get 558 a bid? Anybody get $8,500? You give $8,500. Sold 8,000.
Since we're on a boxer theme this morning, here is a 2004 Honda Valkyrie Ruin. So this one, this is kind of a bike with an interesting story. By the 1990s, the Honda had the Goldwing. It had its own niche market, but they decided to develop a cruiser based on the Goldwing architecture, and that became the Honda Valkyrie. And then starting in about 2000, the early 2000s, you know, with the custom bike craze that was going on at the time, the choppers and all this sculpted stuff, they decided to develop their top tier bike, which was this Honda Ruin. Oh, hey, good morning, Dylan.
Right here you have a 1981 single.
What do you think of these bikes? I'm kind of curious because
They're silly. I think they're silly. I almost never say anything negative, especially on camera.
I know, right?
But these are a silly thing. It's not it's not my style whatsoever.
Oh, I know. But you know what the funny thing is I do think they are so ridiculous and a product of their time. But I kind of love that they exist, that they're crazy enough. I don't think I'd ever want to own one.
I think I agree with you. Did you see the Fortnite video where he like borrowed one for a while and lived with it?
No.
It's pretty interesting.
Is it? I have to
it's
check
like
that
his
out.
friends or something. That's like the premise of the video, and he like tries to do a U-turn in the parking lot and stuff. It's interesting.
Oh no, they're definitely a giant sled and they're hard to ride. But
Not for me.
and you know, Honda lost money on every one of these that they made, but it did create a lot of goodwill for them. So, how's your morning going?
Good. I just got here.
Oh, well, so did I. Hence why I'm filming content this morning.
Well, it's your first time here, and I feel like, Zach it's for his first time with us, and I was like, hey, you got a lot of enthusiasm on Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
It starts to drag, and Saturday morning is when you're like, oh, my back, I've been walking around for 4 days.
Oh my God, it does. It really
Saturday
does.
morning has much more of a calm vibe.
It does. I'm motorcycled out at this point.
Really?
Hey.
I didn't think that could happen to you.
You know, I didn't. Let me put it this way: when I say I'm motorcycled out, it's like how people are like, I'm too drunk at a party, and then they boot and rally.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, the bathroom's right over there.
Yeah, right. So what I've been doing is just sort of palate cleansing in a way, because this whole weekend I've been showing bikes that I like and stuff that I'm into. So now I'm just sort of
show
walking
what I
around.
hate.
No, just stuff I don't know anything about. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. Some people ask me for some 80s super bikes, and unfortunately, those all went much earlier.
Yeah,
and there's like hardly
it's more
any
like
here today.
this has sold rather than coming up.
So I may have to go in there and try and find what I can.
Or do like, they got the little early like teens pre-World War One Harleys. I think those are fascinating because you can literally see how everything works.
Yeah, I did a lot of that on day one, actually, because those things do fascinate me a lot.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good way of like learning how engines work. Not that you need it, but people watching.
Right. Oh, well, I will say this. What do you think of that Guzzi that's down there? There's a 2002 stone
I've been
metal.
looking all over. No, it's the chrome tank.
Chrome tank one.
Again, it's funny because I probably shouldn't say anything negative about Moto Guzzi's, but I think it's pretty ugly. I think it's a great engine and a great bike.
Wait, hold on. I just have to show this. There's that twin engine, twin Evo powered sled. I can't get over like how crazy that is.
Yeah.
But you were saying like I happen to love stones because they are the last of the Tonti frames. They're the last of the big block Guzzis. They're fuel injected. They're about as good as you can. They got great suspension pieces. They got great brakes. They are so achingly ugly sometimes.
That one especially, it's the one that says metal across it.
Yes.
The style is just,
it's
maybe someday it'll come back around, but
Yeah.
right now it feels the most dated possible.
Yeah.
And you're right, mechanically, it's great. It's hard to get over the looks.
Right. See, the Italians have this magical gift that they know fashion better than anybody. So that sometimes they can create stuff that's so achingly beautiful, it is timeless. Ducati Desmo 900s. The V7 Sports, like I think the Le Mans one. You and I disagree about that a lot. But yeah, they make such achingly beautiful, timeless designs, and every once in a while, or not every once in a while, the other half of that coin is that they are so fashion forward that they make stuff that's so avant-garde that it can't help but look dated 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I was saying that the other day that you can't hit a home run without taking swings, and
Right.
sometimes they miss. But the thing about it is, there's a lot of 70s Moto Guzzis here.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Le Mans or some things like that, and they look 80s.
Yeah.
Well, that would, to me, the math says they were ahead of their time. So if we
Right.
go back and say, I don't know, it's pretty 80s for me, but it's a 77.
Yeah.
Their style must have been ahead of the curve.
Oh yeah. Well, the Italians seem to set the fashion for everything. It's just they're really good at that.
Yeah.
You
Good
know.
point.
I just wish the reliability would make it there. You know? Although I will say this:
Now.
even back then, of the Italian bikes that exist, I think Guzzis Guzzis and Lavertas tend to be the most reliable. Lavertas because they borrow so heavily from Japanese technology, and Guzzis just because they stayed with one design from basically the 1960s all the way through and just kept refining and refining and refining. And they had it figured out and it's a simple design too. It's a push rod, air cooled, 2-valve. Like, let's not get silly, let's not get stupid. It's a stone simple motor. I think the original designs came from an irrigation pump. Everyone says, oh, Guzzis are irrigation pumps. No, the actual motors were motorcycle motors. But the designs, the paper blueprints came from farm equipment.
Yeah.
But that's the point, is that like it's durable, it's rugged. They perfected it right on, and then they just went about focusing on all the other stuff that makes motorcycles great.
I think of it as they're sure they got it right, and they
Yeah.
don't really care about anyone else's input.
Which is great.
Whatever the Japanese are doing, that's nice,
Yeah,
but we're pretty sure ours is better.
right. Well, I love them for that. You know, it's funny though, since you were talking about taking swings, this was a big swing from Honda.
Oh, good
And
point.
Honda is typically a very conservative motorcycling company. Like, it took them forever to release a two-stroke street bike because they are just not a two-stroke street bike company. Like Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, they all had two-stroke street bikes because they all had two-stroke Grand Prix bikes, and Honda did not. You know,
I think of this probably a hot take,
Of
but
course.
I think of them as very confident. I think after 69, their success of the CB750, by 79 they got very cocky and they said, we can take every design that anyone else is doing
Yeah.
and make it better. 6-cylinder, the Moto Guzzi style motor, we can do all of that better than anyone because
Yeah.
we're the engineers of the world. And maybe this is getting back to that a little bit.
they're the General Motors of the motorcycling world, if you think about it. In their early days, they were, you know, very cutting edge, very technologically forward. And then over time, they have just sort of been, we're going to keep in step with the cutting edge in some areas. And where we do things well, we're just going to keep doing them well, and we're not going to innovate. You know, and let's say we live in Honda country, so I should probably say Honda doesn't innovate, because Honda does innovate. But they don't, styling-wise, they don't take risks like this. This was the last major. This and the Fury, I think, were the two biggest risks that I saw Honda take
Do they
in
still
the
make
2000s.
the Fury? You see more modern Furies, but I guess I don't know if they.
I don't
is
know
there
if
a
they still
2024
do.
Fury, but there's definitely like a 2018 Fury, and you're like,
Yeah.
they still make this?
But
It's
it-
a pretty crazy bike that they would still make.
But the Fury, I think, was a cheap bike for them to make. They made a profit on this. This they lost. money on.
absolutely. You're right.
This was a non-sustainable business model. This was like the original Dodge Vipers. You know, the first year Dodge Vipers, they lost money on everyone,
too crazy.
and then they had so many orders. Like, oh, we could actually make this profitable if we kept making it. So, and then the Dodge Viper became a legacy. Well, this didn't become that. This was, we're going to lose money on these for 2 years, and then all the goodwill that we built, we're going to move on. And it was an expensive bike too. This was like almost a $30,000 motorcycle in 2004, which would be a $50,000 motorcycle now. Like, I can't imagine shelling out that kind of money. Like BMW cars cost as much as this bike in this time frame. My 2006 BMW, which I still drive around, had a sticker price of like $26,000, and that's pretty close to what this thing sold for new.
Yeah, well, okay, so does it have a reserve?
Does this? I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what it. It does have a reserve.
So then I was going to say, oh, what's it going to go for? But we might never know.
Yeah.
It's sometimes if they have a reserve, this guy will say, I'm sticking out 100,000 and we just won't get near it.
Well, that's the other thing about it, is that this has a very small fan base, but they are incredibly loyal and protective of their values of it.
Well, it's pretty early. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. What is it? 29.
Yeah, it's number 29 in it. So we're going to go through and see what the value is. Right on. Well, I didn't want to keep you too much. Thank you for talking to me, Dylan.
Have fun, man.
All right, and I'll see you.
NRX 1800 Valkyrie Rune, rare 2-year model only.
Get 30, get 20. 20 pounds out of bed. 15. 15 pounds out of bed. 10 to bed. 10 pounds out of bed. 5 pounds out of bed. 6, 7. 7, 8. Get 9. 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13 to bed, 13 pounds flat, down 13, 14, 15, 15 pounds out of bed, down 15 pounds out of 90, 15, 15 pounds down 15, 15, 16, 15, 16 pounds flat, 15 to bed, my buddy, 16, 15 pounds, 16 pounds, and reserve is off, 15 to bed, 16 pounds flat, down 15 pounds, 16 pounds, another anybody else? So 15 pounds, another generous.
I do.
I feel like every CB750 on the planet is here today.
Don't kick my coffee Hey boss, I wanted to catch you guys before you left. Give you my number so you can text me about that 500.
Oh yes, absolutely. Do you, let me just finish this film
Go ahead.
that I'm doing, and we can talk. So here's a fun little bit of 80s sport bike madness. This is a Yamaha RZV 500R, a two-stroke street bike. Never really sold in the United States. We didn't really get large displacement two-stroke street bikes. I think the last Yamahas we got that were two-stroke street bikes were the RZ 350s, right? And we got them in very small numbers. This one has 10,000 miles. It has a comprehensive rebuild by Yamaha factory racing mechanic. But it is just a gorgeous example of, 80s two-stroke madness. I happen to really love these bikes. Probably will never afford one in my lifetime, but I grew up in the era of 500cc two-stroke Grand Prix motorcycle racing, and this is as close as you could get to that in the 1980s. So, just an absolutely beautiful bike.
As for the 1985 Yamaha RZV 500R with a V4 California title, shows the year of 1979 for importation purposes only.
You're behind, I'm a 2, 30, 20, 20 bid, higher negative 10, 12, you're 10, 12, higher negative again, 12 pounds another, you're down 15 pounds on, I get 1 bid down 15, 15, 14, 15, 15, 16, I have 15 to bed, negative 15, 16, 17, you're down 17 to bed, down negative 17, down negative 17, 18, you're down 17 to bed, 18, 18, 19 to bed, negative 19, you're down 20 pounds another bed, 20, you're down 20, higher down 20, higher negative 20 bed down 20 down out of bed. You're down 20, down 1, higher 20 down 1, reserve is off, 20 grand, 21, 21,000 dollars. 20's the bid, 21 pounds another bid, 20 down 1, you're 21, you're 20 pounds down 1, everybody else, 21, 2, 22 down out of bid, 21 going to be 2, 21, higher negative 22, down 3, down 23 pounds down, you're down 3, so you're going to run out of minutes, 22, 23, 23 pounds out of bid, higher negative 22 going to be 3, everybody else? So 22 pounds another 22 pounds.
So here's a real fun bike. This is a 2006 Ducati Sport 1000. These bikes were built in tribute to the 1970s beveled Ducatis, the Sport 750, and then they had a Paul Smart model, which was to commemorate Paul Smart's 1972 Imola win on the green frame 72 Ducati bevel, the 750. This bike I'm actually really curious about because I am the original owner of one of these. I have my own 2006 Sport 1000. Has about 6,500 miles on it right now. I bought it brand new in 07 as a leftover. For some reason they couldn't sell these in 2006, 2007. They were just a hard sell, but they happen to be very gorgeous bikes. I bought mine because I saw it and I lusted after it and I just had to have it. This one has the same upgrades as mine too. It has the Termignoni race kit. So it has the DP-ECU, the airbox, and these gorgeous Termignoni pipes. The only difference is his still has the baffles in his, and I pulled the baffles out of mine. He also has frame sliders, and I don't have frame sliders on mine. But other than that, it's stock, and this was actually a Ducati factory accessory. You bought these over the counter at the Ducati parts dealer and had them installed, and my bike came with them brand new. So this one has about 3,000 less miles than mine, so I'm curious to see what the value of this is going to be. I happen to know the owner of this bike. His name's Bob, and he's from Manhattan, and he's just a really nice guy. He brought about 20 bikes here, so this is a very pretty bike.
48, no 60, Ducati Sport 1000, got a 6-speed manual reserve,
20, 20 to bid, I'm going to get a 20, I'm going to get a 10, I'm going to get a 10, I'm going to get a 5, pounds to the bid, and now 5, I'm going to get a reserve 5, I'm going to get a 6 pound 7, and 6 here, I'm going to get a 7 pound bid, pound 8, I'm going to get a 7, I'm going to get a 8 pounds to bid, 7 pound, 8 pounds to bid, it's 7 or 8 pounds to bid, I'm going to get a 7 over here, I'm going to get a 7 pound, 8 pounds to bid, it is a 75 to bid, I'm going to get a 75, I'm going to get a 7 pound 5, in 5, I'm going to get a 5, I'm going to get a 75 bid, and 75 bid, I'm going to get a 75 bid, 7 bid, 5, I'm getting a 7,500, and I'm getting a 5, I'm getting a 5, 7,500 bid, in 5, I'm getting a 5, I'm getting a 7 pound bid, I'm getting a 7,000, and I'm getting a 6 pound bid, I'm getting a 7 here, 6 pound bid, I'm getting a 6 pound here, and I'm getting a 7 pound, I'm getting a 5, I'm getting a 65, I'm getting a 5 bid, it is 65, 7 pound, I'm going to get 7, we get 7 right there, got 65, ended up giving me 7 pounds of the bid, 16 5, 7 pounds of others, 16 5, take you 7 pounds in, it's 7 bid, and then 7 pound bid, I'm getting a 7, last call down, I'm getting a 7 pounds in, and you've been there 7 5, 75 in the bed, 75 is got a minute ago, I'm going to do a 5, 75 in the bed, hit 5, I'm going to do a 7 and 5, I'm going to do a 5, 75, hit 7 and 5, and now 5 bid, I'm going to do a 5 and 5 hands, so 7 pounds and so 7 pounds 11 seconds. And to complement that 2006 Ducati Sport 1000, here's the Paul Smart 1000. This is also a 2006. This was the serialized edition, and there's about 1,400 of them, I think, in the US. Which, by the way, funny thing, the yellow Sport 1000 that's back there, there's actually fewer of them in the US than there are of these. They sold a lot of the Paul Smarts here, but yellow 06 Ducati Sport 1000s, it's estimated that there's only about 350 in the United States. Now, they did sell them in other colors, red and black, and that would take the total production of Sport 1000s up beyond what Paul Smarts were. But the yellow ones, only about 350. Anyway, the upgrades from this, besides the S model fairing, the green paint frame,
frame paint to commemorate the Ducati green frames is these factory came with Olin suspension, whereas mine did not. They came with Showas. So that is the biggest difference between my bike and this. Otherwise, engine is the same, tuning is the same. This one is actually completely stock. It does not have the Terminioni race kit on it. It has the stock Ducati mufflers, and these are actually as large as they are because they're also catalytic converters in one unit. I actually have these in my basement for my Sport 1000, so whoever gets that bike off my estate when I pass will get a box full of brand new mufflers that have never had exhaust through them. Otherwise, this is a very gorgeous bike, and this still actually has the Pirelli Phantoms on them. These were the stock tires, and Pirelli actually put these back into production from the 70s in a modern size just for this bike. Now the Royal Enfields use this tire as well, or did for a while, because it is a retro tire, and it is actually a really decent tire. This one has 2,165 miles on it, and I'm curious to see what this sells for as well.
206 Ducati Paul Smart 1000. Odometer is 2,100 miles. Rare original example includes the black key and code card.
40, I'm going to be the 30, I'm going to be the 30 pin, I'm going to be the 10 pair 12, it's 10, I'm going to be the 12 pound pin, I'm going to be the 12 pair 15, I'm going to be the 17 pin, 17, I'm going to be the 16 pound 17 pin, I'm going to be the 16 pound 17, 18 the bid, now 19 here, and 19, I'm going to be the 20, I'm going to be the 20 pound one, I'm going to be the down 22, into number down, I'm going to be the 3 down 3, I'm going to be the 3 down 4, down 4, down 4, in 3, I'm going to be the 4 down 4, I'm going to be the 5, I'm going to be the 6, I'm going to be the 7 bid, and 7 pound pin, I'm going to be the 7 pound, I'm going to be the 30 pound pin, it's going to be a 30 pin, I'm going to be 30 pounds of it, I'm going to be the 20 pound pin, and 8 9, I'm going to be the 20 down, I'm going to be the 29 pounds, 8 man, I'm going to be the 9, and I'm going to be the 29 pound here, 8 9, make it 30,000 more, got to be 30 pin, I'm going to be 30,000 pin, 29, 30,000, reserves up away 29, 30 pin, and 9, I'm going to be the 30 pin, I'm going to be the 30 pin, 29, 30 pound pin, and I'm going to be the 30 pin, I'm going to be the 30, I'm going to be the 29, 30,000, so 29 pounds, others right.
Although we've seen some Z1s this weekend, we haven't really seen the blue chip Z1, the 1973 Kawasaki Z1 in this brown and orange paint, or maroon and orange, whatever you want to call it. So I'm kind of curious to see what this is going to go for, because Z1 values have seemed a little flat this year. There's actually 2 of them here slated for auction. This one I happen to think is very, very nice. I mean, look at this paintwork. It's just gorgeous. And chrome work and everything. Every bit of this bike is gorgeous. And, you know, hopefully this will break the trend of Z1 values being a little flat this year and bring some decent money. So we'll see where this goes.
73 Kawasaki Z1. The odometer is 8,100 miles. Inline 4-cylinder, 5 speed, in running condition, full motor Washington title.
I'm going to be the color combo again. I'm going to be the 30, 20 down. I'm going to be the 20 down. I'm going to be the 20 down. I'm going to be the 1 pound. I'm going to be the 5 pound, 7 pound. I'm going to be the 1 pound 10. I'm going to be the 10. I'm going to be the pound here. I'm going to be the 12 pounds of bed. 12 here, 12. And a 12 here, 11 pound. I'm going to be the 12 here, 11 pounds of bed. 11 pounds. I'm going to be the 12 pounds. And a 12 here. I'm going to be the 12 here. I'm going to be the 13. I'm going to be the 12 13 pound bed. And 12. I'm going to be the 13. I'm going to be the 13. I'm going to be the 12 here. I'm going to be the 13 pounds and 14. I'm going to be 14 pounds. And 14 to bed. I'm going to be the 14. I'm going to be the 13. I'm going to be the 14 pound bed. 15. And then 15. I'm going to be the 14. I'm going to be the 15. 15. I'm going to be the 15 pounds. 16. And I'm going to be the 17. 17. Down 18. Down 18. Down 18 pounds. And 17 here. 18 bed. And then 18 here. Down 18. Down 19. Down 19. Sir, I'm going to be the 10. 20 pounds. Now 20 down. And 20 down 1. Now 1. I'm going to be the 1. Down 1. I'm going to be the 1 down 2. I'm going to be the 2 bed. 22 now. In second, I'm going to be the 30. And I'm going to be the 3. I'm going to be the 3 down 3. In 3. I'm going to be the 3 down 2. I'm going to be the 3 down 2. Down 3. How are we doing there? I'm going to be the 3 down 2. Down 3 4. Down 4 to bed. And 3. I'm going to be the 4 down 4. Down 5. Down 5. Down 5. In 5. I'm going to be the 4. I'm going to be the 5 down 4. Down 5. I'm going to be the 6 out. I'm going to be the reserve top of the way. 26,000. And 26 out bed. Bike sells away. 26 7 down. Down 7. I'm 6 here 7. That's 7 to bed. I'm going to be the 7 here down. I'm going to be the 7 to bed. I'm going to be the 6 here. I'm going to be the 27 pound. That's 7 to bed. I'm going to take you load. I'm going to be the 6. I'm going to be the 7. So 26,000. So 26,000.
Here's a bike that I'm kind of surprised to see here. Actually, I'm not really, but this is a gorgeous 2003 Triumph Speed Triple. When I was in my 20s, this was a bike I really lusted after. But, you know, I was broke and I had other motorcycles and I really wasn't interested in, you know, buying and insuring this. Now, and it's even in the color that I really loved, this sort of acid green color. What makes this feel weird to me is that this is now a 20-year-old motorcycle, 21-year-old motorcycle. So, yeah, this makes me feel kind of old being here. I'm not sure if this is the market for it, but it is an absolutely gorgeous speed triple. And these, when I say speed triple, it's a 955cc 3-cylinder engine, water-cooled. They were actually the same engines as the Daytonas, but they were in this naked Street Fighter configuration, which was very popular at the time. This one has a few blemishes, you can see right here and here, but and here, which means it's been used, but otherwise a really decent bike. I'm gonna see what miles are on it. Look at that, no mileage. Didn't tell you what the mileage is. That's not cool. All right, so I think it's a gorgeous bike. Kind of curious to see if it makes any headway here.
36, 2003 Triumph Speed Triple 955 high. No reserve.
No reserve. 5 pound dollar down, 5 bed down, 2 pound dollar down, 3 pound dollar bed. You think buddy, 2 pound dollar down, 3 bed down, negative 3 pound dollar bed. Look to 3, 2 pound dollar, 4,500 bed, 4,500. 4,500 down 45. You're clear, coming back at it. 25 down 3. Thank you. Down 3. 3,000 out of it. 4,500. 3,000. 3,000 down 3 to bit. 4,500 down 3. 500 down negative. 3,000 down 3,000. So 4,500 Paul got.
So here's another gorgeous bike, and we were talking about the Sport Classics earlier. This is actually one of the 3 bikes that they use as a pattern for the Sport Classics in tribute. This is a 750 GT Ducati. So in the 2006 Sport Classic line, there was a GT 1000, a Sport 1000, and a Paul Smart 1000, and they were meant to emulate the GT 750, the Sport 750, and the Imola 750 that Paul Smart won, which eventually became the Ducati Desmo 900. But to that in a second. This is just an absolutely gorgeous example of a 750 GT, and I happen to have met the owner of this one. He's the same owner as the 2006 Paul Smart. This is just a very beautiful bike and one I had aspired to own at one point. But I don't think I'm going to get this one because it's going to go for probably big money. These are, interestingly enough, not Desmo. These are valve spring bikes. The Desmos were only the 750 900 Super Sports. Even the Sport was this engine, but with valve springs. And here's the bevel shaft, and there's a bevel gear in here that turns the camshaft on top, and that's how it actuates the valve. These are called round cases because the cases here are round. When you look at the later models, these are called square cases because the cases are very, very square. But other than that, just an absolutely gorgeous bike. This one has 21,000 miles on it, and is just high value paintwork, very high quality paintwork, which is a very good looking bike. And onto this is a gorgeous 900 Super Sport in silver and blue. Now, the earlier 750s would have had a green frame here and silver bodywork like the Paul Smarts. This is a later model. I believe this is 78 or 79. I have to check the tag here. This is 79. But you have Brembo F08 calipers on Borrani alloy wheels, Marzocchi forks, Marzocchi shocks in the rear, and these are Conti pipes. They are just, everything about this bike is amazing. Interestingly enough, this is also one of the most uncomfortable motorcycles I've ever ridden in my life, but that's because I'm a gangly giant who doesn't really fit on small Italian machinery. But yeah, just a beautiful bike.
74 Ducati 750 GT, got a 5-speed manual, no reserve.
Ducati's on it. I'm going to be able to 20. I'm going to be able to kill a 20 to 10. That's 10 a bit. I'm going to be able to kill a 10. I'm going to be able to 5 bit. I'm going to be able to 6,000 bit. At 5, 6 here. I'm going to be able to 5 pounds, 6,000 bit. At 5, I'm going to be hello. I'm going to be 6,000 tall. I'm going to be able to 5, 6 here. At 7. And 7 bit. I'm going to be 6 pounds. I'm going to be able to kill a 7 pound bit. I'm going to be 6 pound bit. And 7 bit. I'm going to be able to 7 here. I'm going to be 6 here. I'm going to be able to 7 pound bit. 8 pounds a bit. Down, I'm going to be able to I'll not get like that on all of them. I'm going to be able to 7 down. It's 7 pound, 8 pound, 9. I'm going to be able to get a little 9, 10. And 9 band 10. I'm going to be 9 band. I'm going to be 10 pounds a band, 9, 10. It's 10. I'm going to be able to get a little 10 here.
I'm gonna be 85, I'm gonna be 9, you want to do that, 85, 9, down 10, 9 back there, 95, 10, down 10, I'm gonna be 10, 95, down 10, I'm gonna be 10, down 95, to 10, 5, hit 10, 5, bid, I'm gonna be 10, here, 5, hit 5, I'm gonna be 10, I'm gonna be 11, I'm gonna be 10, 5, 11 bid, 11 pounds a bid, down 11 here, I'm gonna be 10, 5, 11,000, 11 bid, 11 grand, I'm gonna be 10, 5, 11,000 a bid, I'm gonna be 11,000, 11 bid, I'm gonna be 10, 5 here, down 11, 5, I'm gonna be 5, 11, 5, 11's up here first, sorry, you got 12 back there. 12, 13, 13,000, 12, 13, 13 to bid, 14,000 another bid, I'm gonna be 13, it's gonna be 14,000 bid, I'm gonna be 14, and 13, I'm gonna be 14 down, I'm gonna be 14, 13, 14 pound bid, I'm gonna be 14, 15, 14 here, 15,000, 14 to bid, 14 to bid, 15,000 to bid. Listen, 14.5 is what you're saying. 14.5, get 14 bid, 14.5, 14,000, 5 to bid, 14.5, I'm gonna be 5 down, 14, I'm gonna be 14,500. So 14,000 on the
50, a 79 Ducati 900 SS. Got a 5-speed manual restored by Ducati factory personnel.
I'm gonna be 15, I'm gonna be 40 down, 40, I'm gonna be 40 pound here, I'm gonna be 30 down, 30 down, I'm gonna be 30 here, I'm gonna be 30 down, I'm gonna be 10 down, 10 pounds a bid, 12, I'm gonna be 12, 15 pound, and 12 down, 15 pound, 17, I'm gonna be 17 bid, 15, I'm gonna be 17 pounds then, it's 17 down, I'm gonna be 17, I'm gonna be 20, I'm gonna be 20 bid 2, it's 7, I'm gonna be 20 down, 2 here, I'm gonna be 2 down, 5, and I'm gonna be 7 bid, I'm gonna be 7, I'm gonna be 27 pound bid, and a 5 bid, 7 here, I'm gonna be 27 pound bid, here, I'm gonna be 27, that's 7 bid, I'm gonna be 5 bid, I'm gonna be 27 pounds then, hit 5, I'm gonna be 6 here, I'm gonna get 26,000, take 7, down 7 bid, I'm gonna be 6 bid, 7, that's 6 here, 7, I'm gonna be 27 pounds, that's 7 bid, I'm gonna be 6 bid, I'm gonna be 7 pounds, 6 here, I'm gonna be 27 pounds then, hit 7 bid, and I'm 7 here, I'm gonna be 7 down, I'm gonna be 6, 7 bid, and I'm 7, I'm gonna be 27, I'm gonna be 26 bid, last call, we're gonna be 27,000. Reserve is off, thank you. There he is. 26,000, 27, 7 bid. I'm going to be 6 7 bid. And now 7 here. I'm going to be 7, 6 7 half. Sold 26,000. Sold 26,000 others Ryan.
Now offering F51 from the Southwest Superbike Selection of CQ.
Just because I promised some of our viewers that I would go look at some 80s sport bikes. Here's a 1986 Suzuki GSXR 750, a second year GSXR 750, and it's absolutely gorgeous shape. This one sold yesterday, and I didn't catch it going across the block, so I'll just post the price of it when I look it up. But in addition to that, there was also a CBR 900 from the early 90s, just an absolutely gorgeous condition. 1993 CBR Fireblade. So this would be the 900, Fireblade 900 RR. Really pretty bike. Again, this one sold yesterday, so I will post up the value on the video. And it's sitting next to a CBX 750 F. Not really a model we got in the States. We got the VFRs instead, which are beautiful and interesting bikes. But I also really like these. I wish we had gotten these instead of the Nighthawks, because they just look more fun and sporting. This one also sold, I think, on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday T242. So I'll put the price up on the video. I don't know if these have gone across. Oh, these have all sold yesterday. Everybody on the internet has done a video on this 750 H2, which is the first one to crack the $40,000 barrier at $44,000. It's just an absolutely gorgeous bike and probably worth every cent. I didn't cover it going across the block, but I just figured I'd cover it here because it's such a pretty bike. And it has an awesome custom that's next to it. It was built by the same individual. Both of these are his bikes, but this is modern suspension and modern paintwork, and it's just been thoroughly upgraded. Awesome chambers that go out the right side instead of 2 on the right and 1 on the left. This is more of a, what you'd see in the early 2000s, a Japanese custom. I say Japanese custom because in Japan, this is how they were building them in that time period. Just an absolutely gorgeous bike. Hi, I'm here with Mac. He works for Vintage Jap, and he actually did the restoration on these two. I should say restoration and customization on these two H2s, which brought really strong numbers yesterday. So you were telling me that this first one, this is the $44,000 hammer price.
For 42.
42. Yeah, but by the time
still, yeah.
fees and when you put it on the website, they always put the 10% premium in it and everything. So you said this rolled into the shop as a complete bike that was numbers correct, right?
Correct, yeah.
Because the numbers don't match on these. The engine number and the
The only bikes that match on are Yamahas.
right. Oh no, you know what? I had a Suzuki T500 Titan. They match on those as well. Yeah, at least my 1971 was that way. But yeah, Japanese bikes like CB750s, they never match either. You know.
The numbers will be in the ballpark.
Yeah. So you had to do everything on this bike, or
Everything. Yeah, we pulled the motor apart, put a rebuilt crank in it.
labyrinth seals
They're-
or the original seals.
They're the original type seals.
The
We
original.
got a guy that specializes in H1, H2 cranks,
Okay, very cool.
and that one's got a rebuilt crank in it. It's, I think it was a half a millimeter overbore
Wow.
to clean it up, and pulled it off. Tore it all the way down. Powder coat. Those are actually the original pipes, and they're. We have a place and we have a radiator shop we send it to, and they oil them out.
Yeah.
And then the polishing guy, his brother has a chrome place, so then they go
Right.
to polishing, and then they go chrome.
Very cool. It's hard to find people to boil stuff out these days. I worked at a radiator shop in the late 90s and early 2000s, and we used to put everything in the mech and boil it out. And then recently I went and found a radiator shop in Columbus, Ohio, where I live, and they wouldn't boil anything out. They said, we're not allowed to do it anymore. We just have to sort of clean it all out. But I'm sorry, where are you located?
We're out of Escondido, California.
Oh, so it's still you're still able to do it there, I
We've
guess.
got a place, yeah. And
Yeah.
as tight as California is, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Oh, because Ohio's been very weird about boiling out the mech and all that stuff, and now we have to use the low VOC paints and the water-based paints. We can't use the paints with all the solids in it anymore. It's ridiculous. But yeah, these bikes are absolutely gorgeous. And you were telling me that this one just started as a bare frame, the custom here.
Bare frame, and we had a set of engine cases. It's
Okay.
got a Vintco aftermarket crankshaft in it,
Oh, very nice.
which is, and I guess they might be aimed at people that are still drag racing them or something, because
Yeah.
the rods are much beefier than the stock rods.
Well, I remember back when I was still first getting into these, fast by gas was what everybody wanted, and you wanted the heads, and you wanted the cranks, and you wanted all that stuff, and I couldn't afford any of it. And they were still operating. I don't know if they're even still around now, but if Paul Gast is still doing it or not. But I remember all that fast by gas stuff. It's very cool.
I was racing at Willow Springs,
Yeah.
and I was racing my vintage superbike and my 125, and there was a guy out in the 0 to 500 practice, and it was a Sealy H2, and it had a fast by gas motor in it.
Wow.
And it was 152 horsepower.
Really, 152 horsepower.
The guy offered to let me ride it, and it was like towards the end of the day.
And a fast by gas H2 in a Sealy frame. I can't even imagine that. That would be amazing.
He offered to let me ride it, and I said, well, I'm a little tired. And,
Right.
So I said, if you're up here next month, I'll do it. And he says, okay, I'll
Right.
be there next month. He took it out in the first practice and blew it up.
Oh, of course.
So, and
All
he
right.
was putting, so I'm sure I would have blown it up.
Oh, of course. Well, sometimes these bikes are hand grenades. You'd be surprised.
I had one that I bought a used one that had been crashed and needed a top end.
Yeah.
In 1976, it was a 72, and I paid $275 for it.
Wow.
And I had it until 2003.
Wow.
And I had about 80,000 miles on it when I let it go. But that was on 5 top ends and 2 crankshafts.
Yeah.
But I ran the crap out of it.
I'll tell you a funny story is I have David Goldstein's old H1 racer that he converted from a 71 H1 he bought new and raced in AMA and ARMA. And he had the frame was redone by Todd Schuster. He did all the Denko bracing plus his own stuff. And then all the engines were done by Kevin Cameron. And I met Kevin a couple times. But I had a conversation with him once at the New York Motorcycle Show where I was like, hey, I have all these engines you built for David Goldstein. And he's like, oh, well, I built them to H1R spec and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, how long does that last? He goes, well, if you build an H1R spec engine on a set of stock road-going cases, you're looking at maybe a season out of each engine that he's got, which is why he had 3. And I said, and if you're not racing it, he goes, I have a client that has an H1R spec engine in a 70 in Massachusetts, and all he does is full throttle pulls on the Mass Turnpike, and he has 50,000 miles on it. And I'm like, well, I guess, yeah, if you're riding it like, you just want to go fast, sure. But if you're beating on it, like you're racing it, you're hammering on it, sometimes they get a little fragile, especially if you're making big power out of one.
Yeah,
So
I had Denko pipes, and it was
Yeah.
ported, and I had 34 carbs on it. And
Wow.
It had pull the front wheel off the ground coming on the pipe.
Oh, yeah.
In third gear at 80 miles an hour. It was
There's an animal.
yeah, but it was actually fairly friendly.
Well, that's cool.
I mean, when it came on, you better be paying attention.
Right. Well, listen, thank you very much for talking to me. I really appreciate all the information you gave me on these. And this one, I am just stunned. You did a fantastic job on it.
Real
Just,
good. We were real happy with it.
yeah, absolutely beautiful job on the bike. And congratulations on the big number.
Yeah, thanks.
So with all the talk of H1s and H2s, triples in general bringing big money, here we have the only one I've seen at the auction so far of the 1969 first year Cowie H1 500 triple. This one actually is a very nice bike. It is a early 69 H1 in that it has the Bridgeport cylinders and it has the a window crank, and it actually has the gold piping around the seat. It is the small snorkel. The snorkel is a piece in here for the airbox. But this is overall a very nice original bike. It is not a restored bike, because you can see there's some yellowing from the fuel leaking all over this thing. But it is in very nice shape. It looks like they may have reconditioned parts of it, but not all of it. It has 455 miles, so I don't think it was ridden very far, which is kind of funny to me. And it does have the Mach 3 logo on the side cover on the left, and the electronic ignition sticker on the right. Otherwise, just an absolutely gorgeous example of a Cowie triple, and oddly enough, the only one here. The tanks, what's interesting about these is the tanks have this sort of cutout, and that was only 69 and 70. After that, it's the same shaped tank without this in 71. And if you bought replacement tanks from Kawasaki for a 69 or a 70 after 70, they were just the flat tanks with the decal, which is kind of weird because the stripe is actually meant to go around this indentation. Otherwise, just a really gorgeous, nice, original Kawasaki H1. I'm kind of curious to see what this thing will bring at auction.
1969 Kawasaki H1 Mach 3 to 500cc two-stroke air-cooled inline three-cylinder engine with a 5-speed, no reserve.
How much is somebody get $25,000 bid? You better get 25 bid. You better get 20. At $20,000 bid, you better get 20 bid. You better get 5,000. You better get 7,000. You better get paid $8,000 bid. You better get paid bid. You better get paid bid. You better get paid 10. At 9,000, you better get 9 bid. You better get 10,000. You better get 11,000. You better get 12. At $12,000 bid, you better get 12 bid. You better get 13. You better get 13. At 13,000, you better get 13. You better get 12 bid. You better get 13. I have 13,000. You better get 13. You better get 14. I have 13 bid. You better get 14,000. You better get 15. At 15, you better get 15 again. 15. At 15, you better get 16. I have 15 bid. You better get 16. You better get 17 again. 17. 18. 18,000. You better get 18. 19. You better get 20. At 20 bid. You better get 20. You better get 20. You better get 20 bid. 20. At 22. I have 20,000. You better get 22,000. You better get 22. So, $20,000 to the internet.
So with all the talk about CBXs here, here's a really fun, interesting bike. This is a Benelli 750 SEI, or SEI. It is a 6-cylinder 750. And if it looks familiar, it's because the engine was actually derived from the Honda CB504, the predecessor of the CB554. So the valve covers are similar in design. One of the things I do love is the casting. They just sort of squared these cylinders off. It looks like a block. I mean, a cylinder head. They squared these fins off, so it just looks like a block. One of the differences in the design is normally on the Honda, which, by the way, these covers are supposed to actually line up with Honda ones, but the logo doesn't, because the they changed it so the parts wouldn't interchange, but they're roughly the same size, which is hilarious. But yeah, one of the big changes they made is instead of putting the stator under the other side of the engine off the crank, they moved it back here. Which it just, and they made it a chain drive. I don't know if it made it more or less reliable, but it really is interesting. And they did have a 4-cylinder variant of this that has the same thing. Although this is an SEI, this is a full 6-cylinder. Other interesting thing is it doesn't have the 6 bank of carbs like a CBX. This actually has shared manifolds, so it has 3 carbs and branch manifolds into the head. So really interesting bike. There are some great details on it. I love that it has a very tiny, thin brake drum that's really for aesthetics and not for actual any heat dissipation, although it probably does add something. And I do love that being a 78, it was starting to get into that box style. So it has these block gauges that look like aircraft instruments. And they're just, these, I'll tell you about the Italians. They either know how to make something so achingly beautiful that it is timeless, or they know how to pick fashion that is just cutting edge that everybody wants to copy. And at least with this bike, it looks like they've done both, because there are aspects of it that I think are just very fashion forward for 1978 and may look dated now. And then I think there are some things that just look achingly beautiful and timeless, like those gauges, right? Other things to note, since it is an Italian bike, it has the usual Italian fare of Brembo brakes. Those are F08 calipers, same as you'd see on a Ducati with the era, Moto Guzzi, Laverda, and BMW. The Europeans just really know how to make their bikes stop. Other than that, it's a fairly narrow bike for what it is. Being a 6-cylinder, I mean, the engine does stick out, but when you look at it in comparison to some other bikes, it's not going to be as narrow as that Ducati up there, right? But it's not that far off from the MV Agusta in terms of width. So, yeah, it's really interesting bike.
Benelli 750 with an inline 6 and a 5-speed. No reserve.
Yep, higher never to get down 40, higher never to get 40 pounds, higher never to get down to get a 40 pound out of bed, higher never to 40, never to get 40, higher never to 40 pound out of bed, higher never to 40, higher never to get 30, higher never to get 20 pound out of bed, yep, 20, higher never to get 20. You don't want to know, Laura. Higher never to get 10 pound out of bed, yep, 10, higher never to get 10 pound out of bed, never to get 10, higher never to get 5 pound out of 10 pound out of bed, 5 pound out of down, 10 pound out of bed, higher never to get 5 pound out of down, 7 to bed, higher never to get 10 pound, 12 to get 12, higher never to get 12, 15, and down 15, higher never to get 15 pound out of bed, and 15, higher never to get down 17, to get 17, higher never to get down 20, 20, higher never to get down 20, 20, higher 2, higher never to get down 2, 5, 5, higher never to get 25 pound out of bed, down 5 pound, 7 to bed, higher never to get 27 to 7, down 30, 30, higher never to get 30 pound, 30, 32, higher never to get down to get 2, higher never to get 5, higher never to get 35, 5, higher never to get 35, down 5, 7, higher never to get 7, down 7, down 40, down 40, higher never to get 40, never to get 40, higher never to get 38 pounds, higher never to get 38 pounds, and Sarah, higher never to get 38 pound, down 40, higher never to get 38, 42, higher never to get 40 down 2, higher never to get, now you're both out, 42, higher never to get 42 pounds, and I get 40 pound down 2, higher never to get 42, 2, higher never to the last call, 42,000. So 40 pounds and others on the internet, so 40 pounds.
Another Benelli.
Captain America. So here's a really interesting bike, one that I'm not really particularly concerned about the value of, but I just wanted to point out some cool details because I don't really get to be this close to a 1928 BMW R42. Something cool to see here is it is a leaf spring front. The other bikes that used this setup were Indians, and they were using it right about the same time, so I wonder who copied who in this. But if you see, it's a cantilever drag link. So the the springing is done here, and it pivots off this. I think Indians actually work almost the same way. Something else that's cool is look at this giant Bosch horn. It's almost an air horn in size, and these fantastic, almost train-like. That's no convex into the lens at all. It is flat. Just fascinating. And look at these. People call these steam gauges because of sometimes they're actually operated by steam, but this is not. This just looks like a steam gauge with the half moon and the pointer. Some of the details are fantastic. Look, BMW cast into the cylinder. No fins on the cylinder, fins only on the head, and it is a flat head. So it's valve in head. Valve in block. Actually, so the fins in the cylinder are on the bottom here. But that's just fascinating. And here's the central intake. Here's the float bowl for the carb. One carb feeds both cylinders, and then you have the exhaust, and you have these wonderful floorboards, which can also sort of semi-serve as bash plates, although I don't think they would. You just see so much on these older bikes. It's fantastic to get a look at.
S108 1928 BMW R42, a 3-year-only model in running condition. Sold on a bill of sale for display purposes only.
You want to get 100 here, you want to get 100 pounds, and out of bed, down 20 bed, down 20, 30, 20, 30, 40, 30 bed, 40, 50, 40 pounds, and out of 50 pounds, you're down 40 pounds, and out of 50 pounds, out of bed, 140 pounds, and out of 50 pounds, out of now 45, 40 pounds, and out of now 5, you're down 40 pounds, and out of now 5, you're down 40 bed, 45 pounds, and you're down 40 pounds, and out of bed, 45, 42, 42, 42, 45, 45 pounds, and out of bed, 42, 45, 45, I'm negative 46 to be 45 pounds and out of bed. I had 42,000 45 pounds and out of bed. 42, 5. Reserve is off. 42, 45, 42 to bed. 45 pounds and I'm negative 42, 45. Yeah, down 40. 45 pounds and out of bed. Yeah, down 42 pounds out of now. 45 pounds and out of it. 42, 45, 42 pounds and 45 pounds and out of bed. Anybody else? 42 pounds and out of 45, you're gonna make it 43, 42, 43, 42 bed. 43 pounds high, 42, negative 43 pounds high. Anybody else? Last call. I have 42, 43 pounds high. So 42 pounds and out of 42 pounds and out of it.
So this is a really interesting bike. This is a 1929 Victoria 600cc, but what makes this very interesting is, well, you guys know my love of boxers. Well, this is a boxer twin, but it is a longitudinal boxer twin. So here's your exhaust pipe for the front cylinder, here's your exhaust pipe for the back cylinder, here is your giant flywheel, similar to a Moto Guzzi bacon slicer flywheel. Here is your clutch, and the drivetrain is on the drive chain is on the other side here. Has a remote float bowl carburetor with a shared intake. So it's one carb, and the intake there and intake here looks like a tunnel ram. So this thing must make an excellent amount of torque. And by the way, it's hand shift. So, but it is not a foot clutch. There is a foot brake, but there is no pedal on this side. It does have levers, so it's left-hand clutch, right hand looks like brake. And yeah, these are very tiny drums, by the way, and they are almost bicycle in how they operate, because they go into a fixed mount here, and then the cable pulls the lever at the bottom. Very interesting. Being in 1929, the paradigm had not been set for motorcycles, so in this case, the frame goes over the fuel tank instead of mounting the fuel tank on top of the frame. But here's something else that's interesting. This is a girder fork, but the springs are internal to the girder, right? So but it also is well, it's not really a springer, but the whole thing moves, and there's not a cantilever at the bottom, but it springs this way, and it springs up and down, and it springs back and forth, and guided only by these arms here and the pivot up here. So, very interesting. It pivots front and back off this, and then it moves up and down off this. So it has 360-degree motion, or 180-degree motion, but it requires two systems to do it. Something else that's interesting is you had to remove the fender to change a tire on this, but it just has these little levers, and it has 3 of them on the rear, and you pull the rear fender off to change a tire. It's very interesting. Very nice German bike. Even though it's a Victoria, Victorias are actually German. They're not. You'd think they'd be Australian or something, but they're not. Very cool bike. Let's see what it sounds like.
109.1 from the Classic Motorcycle of Austria Collection, 1929 Victoria KR6. Recently completed a restoration. Magnetic with dynamo. Motorcycle has no lighting, which was a factory ordering option. The dealer would install the lights as being a possibility. Sold on a bill of sale.
150, 150, 40, 30 pounds and out of bed, 5 pounds and out of 10 pounds and out of bed, 5, 10, 5, 10 pounds out, down 5 pounds and out of down 10 pounds and out of bed, 5 pounds and out of bed, 10 pounds and 15 pounds out, 10, 15, 20, 15, 20 pounds and out of bed, down 15, 20 pounds and out of bed, down 15, 20, 15 to bed, 17 pounds out, down 15 pounds out of down 17 to bed, 15 pounds out of down 17, 20, 17 to 20 pounds and out of bed, down 17 to 20, going to be 20, going to be 20, 17 to bed, 20 pounds and out of bed, 17, 20, 17 pounds out of down 20 pounds out, down 17 to 20, anybody else, 17 pounds and out of 20 pounds and out of bed, 17, 20, I have 17 to negative 20 pounds out, I'm down negative 17, 22, I have 20 pounds out of down 2, we have down 20 pounds down 2, I'm negative 20 down 2, and down 5, 45 pounds and out of bed, I have 25 pounds and out of bed, I have 25, 27, 27, 30 pounds and out of bed, down 30, we are down 30 pounds and out, 27, 30, then down 2, I'm negative 30 going to be 2, we are down 30 pounds and out of bed, I'm going to do 2, taking a big pay to bed, 30 pounds and out of 32 to bed, 30 pounds and 32 pounds and out of bed, everybody else, 30 pounds and 32, 5, 35, and that's it, 32, 35 pounds and out of bed, here now pound reserve is up, 32, 35, 35 pounds and 37, 35 to bed, 37 pounds and 35 pounds and 37 pounds and so 35 pounds and dollars at 35,000.
Now offering next up from the Classic Motorcycle of Austria Collection is on S112.1 1936 Zundap K800 4-speed hand-shifted manual gearbox with shaft drive. Sold on a bill of sale for display purposes.
I'm going to get out here. I'm going to get 10 pounds and 15 pounds and 15, 20. I'm 15 negative 20 then. You're down 15 pounds out of down 20 pounds out of bed down 15 negative 20. 15 pounds out of 20 pounds and 15 pounds out of that 20 to 20 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 15, 17 pounds and 22, 22, 25, 25 pounds out of bed, you're down past 7, 27, 30, negative 30 bed, now 30 pounds out of bed, now 30 going to be 30 pounds and out of 32, 30 bed. 32 pounds out of bed, negative 30 going to be 2. You're down 30 pounds out of bed, negative 32 to bed. 30 pounds out of down 2. You're down 32 pounds out of bed, negative 32 pounds out of bed. 30 pounds out of bed, 32, 100 and out of you're down 30 going to be 2 to bed, down negative 30 pounds out of down 2. 32 pounds out of anybody else. 30 to bed. 32, 30 pounds out of it, negative 32, 35, 35, 35, 7, 37 pounds out, 35, 37 pounds out of it, 35 here, 37 pounds out, 35 pounds out of 7, 40, 40, 40, 37, 40, get 40, sir, get 40 pounds out of it, 40, 40 pounds out, negative 40 pounds out of it, you're down 40 pounds, negative 40 pounds out, 40, 42, 43, 2, 42, reserve is off. 1, 2, 42, 42, 3, 43, 43 pounds out of bed, down 3. Negative 43, 4. 44 pounds out of bed, 43, 44. You want to get 44, 45, 45 pounds out. Yeah, 46 pounds out of bed, 45, 46. 46 pounds out of time, 46. I have 7. I have 47 pounds and now 47 pounds and out of bed, down. So $46,000, $46,000. Like
Offering lot S113, 1954 Norton Dominator 88 with a parallel with no reserve.
high negative no reserve, high negative 40, high negative 30, 30 to 20, high negative 20 bed, 20 bed, negative 10 pound out of 12 pounds out of bed, 10 negative 12 pound out of now 12 pounds, you did it, sir. 12 pounds out of 15 pounds, 17 bed, and now 15 bed, now negative 17 pound out of now 17, now 15 pound out of now 17 bed, negative 17, 15, 17, 17, 16, negative 16 pounds, and now 17 bed, 16 pound out of now 17, out of now 17 pound out of bed, 16 pound, now 17 pounds, and 16 pounds and out of 16 pounds and out of
So here are three very interesting bikes coming up. A Halewood tribute, one of the early 2000s one, Guzzi Daytona, and another Z1, the other 73 Z1 that's here this weekend. Let's start with this. These were handmade in, I think, 2001 or 2002. I can't remember. 2002. But this one has a Carbon Dream aftermarket, full carbon fiber bodywork. Every piece of bodywork on this bike is carbon fiber. They were very nice bikes, and their popularity is what led to the Sport Classic line becoming a thing. But if I remember, these were like $22,000 or $25,000 when new. This one actually is really cool. It has a backup camera to the left there that was installed by the owner, and you can see the camera itself is right there. It's going to be an interesting one. The exhaust on these are absolutely gorgeous. But one of the early problems with them, I had a friend that owned one, is they would melt the stanchions here, and then the plate would break off and fall off. And so in this case, they reinforced it with an aftermarket aluminum plate bracket. So here's a Guzzi Daytona. This is a 93, so that even though this is not a Tonti frame, it is still one of the last of the big block Evolution engines. Very cool. This is a 4-valve one. Dad has his eye on this one. He wants to see what it'll go for. I'd be interested to see myself. I'm kind of curious. These don't usually go for a lot of money. And this one is sold no reserve, so this might actually be a bargain for somebody. And then the other Z1 got strong money today at 29, but not the 60 everybody's been predicting they're going to touch eventually. And honestly, I don't think that that's going to happen. It's not this weekend anyway, if ever. Really pretty bike though.
Now offering S148.1 and 02 Ducati MH900E. Includes an engraved Ducati number plate and manuals, larger fuel tank, and it has an and racing rear view camera system.
And somebody get 50,000 out of bid, anybody get 50 bid, anybody get 40, anybody get 40, anybody get 30. And 30 bid, anybody get 30, 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 anybody get $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, anybody get 15, 17. I have 15, anybody get 17, anybody get 16,000, anybody get 16, 17. At 17, anybody get 18, put it 19, anybody get 20. I have 19, 20. At 19, anybody get 20, anybody get 20, anybody get 20, anybody get 20, anybody get 20. At 20,000, anybody get 20, anybody get 20, anybody get 18, 20. I have 18, anybody get 20, anybody get 20, anybody get 19, 20. I have 19, anybody get 20, anybody get 20, anybody get 20,000. I have 19, anybody get 21. At 20 bid, anybody get 21,000. Anybody get 1 bid, anybody get 1 bid, anybody get 21. At 20's bid, anybody get 21,000. Anybody get 20 bid, anybody get 21. 20's bid, 21. $20,000 bid, anybody get 21. Close the bid at $20,000. Close the bid goes on.
Now offering S149 and 93 Moto Guzzi Daytona 1000. One of only 50 designated for the U.S. market. Designed by the noted engineer John Whitner. Stage 2 kit, no reserve.
Somebody get $20,000 bid, anybody get 20 bid, anybody get 20, anybody get 15. 15 bid, anybody get 15,000, anybody get 15, here anybody get 10. At $10,000, just once, 10,000, anybody get 10 bid, anybody get $5,000. At 5,000, anybody get 5,000, 5, everybody get 6,000, everybody get 7,000, everybody get 8,000, everybody get 10,000, everybody get 12,000, everybody get 10, everybody get 12. I have 10,000, everybody get 12,000, everybody get 10, everybody get 12, everybody get 10, 12. I have 10,000, everybody get 11,000, 11 bid, 11,000, everybody get 10 bid, 11. $11,000 bid, 11. Here, everybody get 10 bid, everybody get 11,000, everybody get 10, 11. I have $10,000, 11, 12, 12,000, everybody get 12 bid, everybody get 12 bid, everybody get 11 bid, everybody get 12 bid, 11 now, 12. Sold $11,000 to the internet.
Now offering S150.1. S150.1, a 73 Kawasaki Z1. Comprehensive nut bolt restoration. The Z1 helped popularize the across-the-frame inline four-cylinder concept, no reserve.
$50,000. Everybody get 50 bid, everybody get 40, everybody get 30, everybody get 10, 15. 15,000, everybody get 15, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 5 bid, everybody get 25. At 25,000, everybody get 5 bid, everybody get 5 bid, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 25. I have 20,000, everybody get 25,000, everybody get 5 bid, everybody get 25. At 20 is the bid, 22, 20 bid, everybody get 2 bid, everybody get 2 bid, everybody get 2, everybody get 22,000. At $22,000 for it. At 22,000, everybody get 2 bid, everybody get 2 here, everybody get 22. $22,000 on a 900. Somebody get 22. $22,000. I've got $20,000 on the internet. Is that right? Oh, that's wrong. I've got 15 on the internet. Anybody give 17? 20. Now 2. 20's a bid. 22. 20 bid. Everybody get 22. So, $20,000, Megan. So,
Now offering S151, a 75 Kawasaki Z900. Same owner since 86, restored and upgraded, no reserve.
how much in the reserve? Somebody get $30,000 bid, everybody get 30, everybody get 20. At $20,000 bid, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 10,000, everybody get 15,000, everybody get 10, everybody get 15. I have 10,000, everybody get 15,000, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 20, everybody get 20, everybody get 20. I have 15,000, everybody get 20,000, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 17. At 15 bid, everybody get 17,000, everybody get 17, everybody get 17, everybody get 17. I have 15,000, everybody get 17,000, everybody get 17, everybody get 17. At 15,000, everybody get $17,000, everybody else? 16, 17, 16,000, everybody get 17,000, everybody get 17, internet, everybody get 17. At 17, everybody get 18, everybody get 18,000, everybody get 17, everybody get 18. I have 17,000, everybody get 18,000, everybody get 17, everybody get 18. Sold $17,000. Make it on the internet. So,
Now offering S152, a 79 Honda CBX 1000. Unrestored, highly original. 79 was the first year of the Honda CBX 1000 model. Odometer is 15,000 miles.
somebody get $40,000 bid, everybody get 40, everybody get 30 bid, everybody get 30, everybody get 30, everybody get $10,000. At 10,000, everybody get 10 bid, everybody get 10, here, everybody get 10. At 10,000, everybody get 10 bid, everybody get 10, here, everybody get 10, show me $10,000. 10, thank you, 12. 10 bid, everybody get 12,000, everybody get 10 bid, everybody get 12, here, everybody get 10, 12, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, everybody get 15, 17. At 17 bid, everybody get 17, everybody get 17, everybody get 17, everybody get 17. I have 15,000, everybody get 17,000, everybody get 18,000, everybody get 19,000, everybody get 20. I have 19 bid, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 20, here, everybody get 20 bid, everybody get 20. I have 20 bid, you have 2 bid, everybody get 20 bid, 2. I have 20,000, everybody get 2 bid, everybody get 2 bid, everybody get 20 bid, 2. I have 20,000, everybody get 22,000, everybody get 20 bid, 22. Reserve is off. I have 20,000, everybody get 22,000, everybody get 2 bid, everybody get 20 bid, 2. So, $20,000, making on the internet.
So this is a very beautiful custom chopper with a leaf spring front end. It's a modern one, but it's all brass. It's kind of interesting, but the thing I love about this more than anything is the Western engraving on the primary.
You know, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
And it has Western engraving on the heads too.
I'm seeing stuff like this.
Or the rocker
It's
boxes, I
different
should
than
say.
what everybody else does, and it's okay. It's, you know. Oh, look at this. I thought it was black.
Just an absolutely cool looking bike. Not really my cup of tea, but absolutely beautiful anyway. Just the amount of handiwork that went into it. That's okay. Here's a very interesting motorcycle, 89 VFR 400R NC30. I don't think we actually got these in the States. This is very much a gray market bike, but it is gorgeous. With the 25-year rule, it doesn't matter now. This could be registered anywhere in the U.S. But just look at how 14,500 RPM red line, and you can barely see that V4 in there. But what a neat bike.
By the way, that's engine's all rebuilt. Just
I'm sorry?
the engine's all rebuilt 2
Oh,
months ago.
this is your
3 months ago. Yeah.
3 months? This is your bike?
Yeah.
So they never brought these in the States, right?
No, they're all JDM.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We specialize only in 400,
Okay.
80s, 90s, 400s,
And-
and some 250s.
Who is we?
Me and my company.
Oh, what's your company's name?
JB Paris. So
JB
I do
Paris.
about
All
20
right.
bikes a year, and this one actually, I have a partner in South Africa that I had built this.
Oh, very cool.
And so we had this one built there. So we do, that one went through South Africa, but this one, some of the others right there.
Right on.
It's a great bike. It's top to bottom been redone.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
And-
really pretty. For an NC30, it's really,
Right.
get the fingerprints off it and then,
Right. Well, they won't show up on stage. They'll wash it down before it goes up. But thank you very much. That's
you're
awesome information. What a pretty bike. And I love the single-sided swing arm, too.
yeah, that's,
You know.
it's just the signature. It's a fun part.
It is. That seems to be all the NC bike, or NC and RC bikes,
Yep.
like
Yeah, correct.
RC30s, RC45s. Also, it's like a baby V4 RC30.
That is it, exactly.
Very cool.
400R NC30. Comprehensive restoration, liquid cooled V4 with 6 speed, no reserve.
$1,000, $2,000. Here, you're going to get 2, you're going to get 3. At 3,000, you're going to get 2, baby, you're going to get 3, you're going to get 4, you're going to get 5, you're going to get 5, you're going to get $5,000. At 5,000, you're going to get 5, baby, you're going to get 6, now 7. At 7,000, you're going to get 7, 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 you're going to get 7. I have 6,000, you're going to get 7,000, you're going to get 7, baby, you're going to get 7. At $7,000, anybody get $6,500 for it. $6,500 bid, you're going to get 7,000, now you're going to get 75. I have 7 bid, you're going to get 5 bid, you're going to get 5 bid, you're going to get 7,000, you're going to get 7,500. At 75, 8,000, you're going to get 8 bid, you're going to get 8 bid, you're going to get 8 bid, you're going to get $7,500 bid, you're going to get 8. I have $7,500 bid, you're going to get 8,000, you're going to get 75 bid, you're going to get 8,000. So $7,500, make it on the internet.
Now offering us 228.1, a 2005 Special Construction Custom. Dual chrome detailed V-twin engines, dual disc brakes with drilled rotors.
I'm the curator for his
How much is somebody get 35,000? You're gonna get 30 bid. You're gonna get 30. You're gonna get 30. You're gonna get 30. You're gonna get 20. At $20,000 bid, you're gonna get 20 bid. You're gonna get 20. Here, you're gonna get 20. You're gonna get 20. You're gonna get 20. You're gonna get 10. You're gonna get 10. You're gonna get $5,000.
good ones, especially. That ending one was interesting.
Come on, $5,000.
Oh!
6, 7, 8, 9, 9.
Nobody wants this thing.
9, 10, roll it. $9,000 bid, you're gonna get 10,000, you're gonna get 9 bid, you're gonna get 10, you're gonna get 10, you're gonna get 9, you're gonna get 10. I have 9,000, you're gonna get 10,000, you're gonna get 10 bid. Reserve is off. I have 9,000, you're gonna get 10,000, you're gonna get 10 bid, you're gonna get 9 bid, you're gonna get 10, you're gonna get 10, you're gonna get 9, and now 10. So $9,000, Ryan Brewer.
Now I'll bring in his 229er, an 84 Harley Davidson shovelhead digger chopper. This is an Arlen Ness custom digger frame, appeared on Miami Vice, best in show at world famous Buffalo Chip, has won several other things, however the awards are not included in the stamp.
Somebody get $30,000. You're gonna get 30 bid, you're gonna get 10, you're gonna get 15, put it 17 bid, you're gonna get 20. I have 18 bid, you're gonna get 19,000, you're gonna get 20,000, you're gonna get 20 bid, you're gonna get 19, 20. 19 bid, you're gonna get 20 bid, you're gonna get 20, you're gonna get 20, you're gonna get 20, you're gonna get 19, 20. I have 19,000, you're gonna get 20,000, you're gonna get 20 bid, you're gonna get 19, you're gonna get 20. I have 19,000, you're gonna get 20,000, you're gonna get 20 bid, you're gonna get 20, you're gonna get 20, you're gonna get 20, you're gonna get 20. And 20,000, you're gonna get 20 bid, you're gonna get 20 here, you're gonna get 20 bid, you're gonna get 19, 20. Close the bid at $19,000 and the bid goes on.
Now I'll bring in
So that's going to wrap it up today. For Mecum, and actually for this year. They're just wrapping up the last lots, and there wasn't anything in there for me to see. But had a lot of fun. This was a great experience. Hopefully I learned from it. You guys learned from watching my videos, and I'm sure to be back here next year. Gonna be a good time. Thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, comment if you can, and see you next video.